my paranormal peeps, and welcome back to another Deep Woods Paranormal podcast. My name is Matt Harvey. I am the founder and lead investigator with Deep Woods Paranormal, and also the host of the Deep Woods Paranormal podcast. So tonight we're going to talk about 5 haunted ghost towns. We've been down the road over haunted bridges. We've been through scary cemeteries, and tonight we're going to kind of continue on with that theme. And we're going to talk about some of the 5 most haunted ghost towns. Now, these are all pretty much out west. There's ghost towns across the whole United States and, of course, across the world, too. But we're going to talk about these. These are the ones that popped up when I did the 15 most haunted. And again, if you guys want to comment down below, let us know what your favorite haunted ghost town is. But I'm going to cover these, and if you guys like this series, feel free to comment down below. Let us know if you like it or not, where you'd want to investigate. Have you had an experience at any of these little towns? We've had some of these towns that I'm going to talk about tonight, Bodie and Tombstone, Amanda and I think also we've been to the Goldfields in Nevada. So we'll be kind of sharing some personal stories about this too. But all right, so we're going to talk about these 5. So it's Bodie, California, Calico, California, Tombstone, Arizona, St. Elmo in Colorado, and the Goldfield in Nevada. And each of these basically has its own dark legends, ghost stories, and history that's buried beneath the dust. All right, so let's start out with Bodie, California. This was once a booming gold mine town that nearly 10,000 people actually lived at, but now it's frozen in time. Essentially, it's what they called arrested decay, meaning that it's basically people still are keeping it up, but it's just basically not a place where very many people live anymore. So you can still peer inside the windows and see life as it was back in the day. There's still plates on the table, toys on the floor, even beds still made as if families just vanished overnight. But not everybody is left. Actually, people still often appear footsteps, voices, and seeing faces staring at them through windows and then in the abandoned homes. I can't talk today. I don't know what's going on with my brain. Okay. All right. So there's also a Bodie curse. The legend says that anyone who takes as much as a rock from Bodie will be haunted until they return it. Park rangers are constantly getting packages every year from people mailing things back, hoping the curse will finally lift. All right, so let's look a little bit more into the hauntings of Bodie. So let me just give you guys some more detail about Bodie. It's a preserved ghost town in California in the high deserts. It was once a thriving gold mining boom town with nearly 10,000 residents, as I said, in the late 1870s. It's protected as a state park. It still has about 100 remaining buildings that are preserved, and as they said, a state of arrested decay, meaning that they're still kept from collapsing but not restored, offering visitors an authentic look into the past. You can actually go out here, and I think you could spend the night. You can't stay in the buildings, but you can park an RV or whatever out here, I think. Now, double check that, because they may have changed the laws. I know I've followed a few people that actually have gone out here and stayed the night. Excuse me as I get a drink. So the history of Bodie. This was discovered in 1859, and basically was a location where they found a lot of gold in the area. The severe winter actually killed Bodie, but the remaining mini mining camp was named, as a severe winter blizzard killed Bodie. It was actually the founder of Bodie, California. They built a new mining camp as it was named in his honor, and then changed the spelling to Bodie. So his name was spelled Bodey, and Bodie, California is spelled Bodie, if you're a history buff. Okay, so it says after a lucrative gold discovery in 1876, Bodie rapidly expanded, becoming a notoriously lawless and violent town. So anytime I talk about ghosts and stuff like that, I always refer back to history like this. Um, Anytime you have a bunch of things like that happening where people are being killed or whatever, it always leads to ghosts. People getting killed untimely and stuff like that. The town had numerous saloons and rough characters. So it also had a thriving Chinatown as okay. So sorry, somebody's talking to me. I'm gonna start in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so Bodie began its decline in the 1800s as the gold ran out, and then the miners moved on. A major fire in 1932 destroyed much of the downtown area, pushing a few of the remaining residents to leave. And then mining officially ceased in 1942. So basically, that by that time, people were pretty much gone from that place. So in 1962, it was designated a state historical park to protect the town as it was left. So it's in the Bodie Hills east of the Sierra Nevada mountains near the Nevada border. So let's see. Let's get into the hauntings. So it says it's steeped in ghost stories and legends of paranormal activity. The town's violent and tragic past, along with its eerie state of arrested decay, contributes to its reputation as one of the most haunted ghost towns in America. So the Curse of Bodie. The most famous legend associated with Bodie is the Curse of Bodie. The story claims that taking anything from the park, even a pebble or piece of glass, a rusty nail, anything, will bring you bad luck, misfortune, and tragedy. Okay, so let's get into important hauntings. It says many specific locations within the park are said to be haunted by spirits of the former residents. J.S. Kane House. This is one of the most famously haunted locations. It's reportedly haunted by the ghost of a Chinese maid who dislikes adults but loves children. So if people feel like they're being suffocated or pushed, while some children claim that the nice lady read them a bedtime story. The Menensuni House. Visitors have reported hearing laughter of ghostly children and smelling Italian cooking coming from the house. Let's see what else. The Bodie Cemetery. Here's another cemetery for you guys. The cemetery is said to be haunted by the Angel of Bodie, the spirit of the young girl named Evelyn, who was accidentally killed by a miner's pick. Ooh, that sounds sad. They've reported that they hear giggling near her grave. This Disembauchi. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce this. Some visitors have seen a ghostly female figure peering out from a window upstairs in this former hotel. And then, of course, there's the miners. A minor explosion killed a miner, and his ghostly voice is reportedly heard calling out to people near the mine shaft. A phantom white mule, which died in the mines, also said to haunt the tunnels. Weird. So I guess there's ghost tours and paranormal investigations up here. You guys can look into that if you're interested. Let's move on to Calico, because I've actually never been to Bodie. I've wanted to go to Bodie. We got snowed out the day we went up there. All right, so let's talk about Calico. Calico Ghost Town. It's basically associated with hauntings with alleged phenomenon, including disembodied sounds, a phantom dog, a sighting of a grieving woman, small children, and a floating red light in the schoolhouse. Okay, so people often feel spirits' presence, and it's often linked to the town's tragic past and decline after the silver mines were closed in the late 1800s. So here's a reported phenomenon. Mail-carrying dogs. A spirit of a mail-carrying dog is said to roam the grounds. Lucy Bell King Lane. A spirit identified as Lucy Bell Lane, a resident who lived in the Lane house, is frequently cited. Phantom school teacher and child. Visitors reported seeing a phantom school teacher and a small child who may pinch ankles and grab legs. Floating red lights. So there's a floating red light that has been seen inside the schoolhouse as well. And then sounds of and feelings. Visitors claim to hear sounds and forgotten music or all feel presence of spirits throughout the town. History and haunted links. The boom and bust. Calico was a booming silver town in the 1800s and attracted a population of over 1,200 people. Abandonment following the decline of silver prices and the closure of the mines in the 1890s. The town was basically abandoned in 1907, becoming a true ghost town. So basically, the owner of Knott's Berry Farm bought the town in 1953. And if you've ever been to Knott's Berry Farm, that little town they have in Knott's Berry Farm is also said to be haunted, FYI. And the town restored much of the town in 1953. And then he turned it into a historical park and a tourist attraction. The ghost town's dark past and deserted nature contribute to its haunted reputation, is what it says. So Calico, I've been to Calico. We've been on a ghost tour down in the mines. It was creepy, especially because they do it by candlelight, and at least this guy did. And you do feel like you're being watched. You can hear noises like clinking of shovels and stuff like that. While like it sounds like somebody's walking, you can hear footsteps down there, and you do hear like whispers of old miners down in there. We didn't actually stay the night, but we essentially we're in a saloon, and you just felt like you were being watched the whole time. And it wasn't a good, like, I'm feeling like I'm being watched. It was like eyes were on you, like, what are you doing here? And the feeling of, at least for me, the feeling of you shouldn't be here, kind of thoughts came to mind when I was at this location. So if you ever get the chance to go to Calico, go for it and see for yourself. I always tell everybody you have to experience it for yourself before you should believe. Have you actually been to Calico? Did you experience anything? Comment down below. Let us know. All right. So Tombstone, Arizona. Everybody knows Tombstone from, so many shows and all these other things that have gone on through there with the paranormal. So if you haven't been to Tombstone, Arizona, or you're not from the United States and you've never seen any of the White Earps movies, or you're not into gunslinging movies, then you might not know about this place. But it's really an old historic town that they've redone. Crazy cool town. They've done a great job of keeping it alive. It's not completely a ghost town anymore. It's essentially restored. A lot of it is, and it's very much a tourist attraction now. And they do ghost tours and stuff like that, which are really cool. We'll get into a little bit of that here in a minute. So it says Tombstone, Arizona is renowned for its ghost tales and haunted locations, drawing its violent and storied past as 19th century mining boomtown. The city's historic history is filled with gunfighters, disease, and hardships, all of which contribute to the legends of the restless spirits that linger in many of its historical buildings. So the Birdcage Theater, if you have not seen the video Amanda and I made on that, we actually went in there and we had a lot of activity when we were there. We had I don't know why, but we had a lot of activity, and we actually made the tour guide mad because she thought we were messing with her, and we weren't. We weren't. Our K2s kept going off, and she's like, here. Amanda took the other one from her. Same thing started lining up. Something was very interested in us for some reason. But anyways, so the Birdcage Theater, known for its wild history as a saloon, theater, and brothel, the Birdcage Theater is considered to be one of the Tombstone's most haunted places, and that's where we went. We went and toured the Birdcage, and we had a lot of cool experiences there. Again, K2's lit up and stuff like that. We did we didn't do a ghost box session because she didn't want us but we did a lot of activity. We had a lot of activity there, so you guys can go watch that video. But anyways, hauntings. Visitors reported hearing disembodied voices, seeing ghostly apparitions of prostitutes and cowboys, and experiencing cold spots, which all pretty much happened to us. Notable spirits. The spirits of a man in a top hat and a woman in a red dress are frequently sighted. Boot Hill, the graveyard there, another graveyard. Um, this historic cemetery, where many of the tombstone outlaws and notorious figures were actually buried, is another hotbed for activity. People have reported capturing unexplained photos and videos and reported seeing full body apparitions walking through the gravestones. So notable spirits. Some believe that the ghost of the participants of the famous gunfight at the OK Corral are buried here, though they died elsewhere. All right, so let's see. You got Big Nose Kate Saloon, and this is the original Grand Hotel. This establishment was a refuge for many of Tombstone's characters, including Doc Holliday and his lover, Big Nose Kate, and then it's also home to several other ghostly entities. All right, so in this hotel, guests and staff report seeing a ghostly figure believed to be the former hotel's janitor and spectral woman thought to be Big Nose Kate herself. There's also poltergeist activity reported, and all poltergeist means is noisy ghost. It's a German word that basically is polter is noisy and geist is ghost. So the reports include moving objects, flickering lights, and the sound of phantom music. Blah. I can't talk today, guys. Bear with me. So the Tombstone Courthouse. Now, I imagine with all of the criminals and stuff that were being arrested and stuff like that in the day, and all the hangings and all that stuff, this place would probably be heavily haunted. So it kind of goes back to the Whaley House too. I mean, the Whaley House has lots of ghosts of people that were hung there. So, okay. So it's now a state park. The courthouse has a grim history of trials and hangings, as I just said. So, hauntings. Most people have seen shadow figures and hearing unexplained noises, especially in the courthouse and jail cells. Notable spirits. There are tales of man ghostly wandering the courthouse, possibly one of the men who was hanged there. Yeah, I just basically everything I just said. All right, so the Crystal Palace Saloon. This establishment is said to be haunted by a cowboy's ghost, who sometimes appears in the mirrors. And the Occidental Hotel, Oak Hotel, the site of several gunfights and murders. The hotel and now cafe is rumored to have several numerous spirits that haunt them. And of course, there's ghost tours and stuff like that. So, Calico is a really cool town. I would highly recommend if you get a chance to stop by there, even just for a day trip, go check it out. Let us know if you experience anything there. Not Calico. It says Calico, but it's Tombstone. If you get a chance to go to Tombstone, go for it. I don't know if it's worth staying the night. We spent the night there, and so we've actually done it a couple of times. Amanda's done it with her mom. I don't think any of us actually experienced anything that at night, but we definitely experienced things when we went into the places that are said to be haunted. So I would highly recommend going to those locations and seeing like the Birdcage Theater and stuff like that. Book a ghost tour. See if you guys can experience anything, or if you've experienced something. Again, comment down below. Let us know what you guys have experienced. All right, give me 1 second. Let me take another drink here. All right, St. Elmo, Colorado. Okay, so hauntings of the ghost town in St. Elmo's, Colorado, primarily center around the tragic story of Annabelle. No, not that Annabelle. Her name was Dirty Annie, and Dirty Annie Stark. And the Stark family remained remained in the dying town. Annabelle's spirit is said to continue to watch over the town after her death in 1960. So, sounds like Annabelle was a daughter of Anton and Anna Stark, one of the most prominent families in St. Elmo. Her mother, Anna, was a harsh and controlling woman and sheltered her from rough townspeople, and she forbidden her from socializing with other residents. So Annabelle kind of grew up lonely and isolated and developed a fierce love of possessive and possession of the town. Essentially, she was very possessive of the town. So the town's decline. As the mining industry collapsed and the railroad shut down in the 1920s, it became a true ghost town. Along with most of the residents leaving, the Stark family was among few who remained. The last residents, after the death of her parents, Annabelle and her brother Tony became the sole occupants of St. Elmo. There was no electricity, no running water. They lived in the crumbling family hotel and store, and Annabelle's health actually began to deteriorate. The townsfolk began calling her Dirty Annie due to her again, I can't talk. Again, due to her unkept hair and filthy clothing. So there says protector. Annabelle is known to patrol the town with a loaded shotgun slung over her shoulder, protecting her property from vandals and trespassers. So Annabelle, unfortunately, and Tony were eventually committed to a mental hospital due to their own safety. Through a friend, help them get released. Tony died, and then Annabelle later died in a nursing home in the 1960s. So it sounds like they lived a pretty tragic life. The town basically just deteriorated around them, and they kind of deteriorated with the town, unfortunately. And so they still haunt the town because they love it so much, which is amazing. So I guess visitors have reported seeing Annabelle's ghostly figure through St. Elmo's continuing protective watch. It says Home Comfort Hotel, which is Annabelle's most often associated location, in her old family home and store. Witnesses have described a sudden, drastic temperature drop, and one skier said they saw a white woman in a white dress standing outside of a second-story window. The ghostly figure reportedly nodded in approval, and after the skier told the group of snowboarders that they were trespassing. So I guess they were in there illegally, and when he told them that they were trespassing, his friends probably, they all pretty much probably left. I would probably too. So doors and windows. On one occasion, children playing at the hotel reported that all the doors and windows suddenly slammed shut, and that was accompanied by a sharp temperature drop. In the streets of St. Elmo, Annabelle's spirit is also said to roam the town streets and carrying her phantom shotgun. Wow. Okay. Well, she's just protective of the location. So that's pretty cool. All right. So have you guys been there? Have you guys been to St. Elmo? Have you seen Annabelle? Did you experience Annabelle? Did you experience anything like that? Did you see her carrying her gun? That would be interesting to find out. Comment down below. Okay. Let's talk about the Goldfield in Nevada. So the Goldfield in Nevada has a long history of paranormal activity, most notably after the notorious Goldfield Hotel, a former boomtown which also once attracted thousands during the 1900s. Gold Rush is now a living town with many believing spirits of its early residents are still lingering. All right, so in the Goldfield Hotel itself, it was considered to be by many the most haunted place in Nevada. It was built in 1908. The abandoned building has been the subject of numerous paranormal investigations. And basically, that's where one of the teams that's very popular on TV right now got its start. I can't mention the name because I don't want to have an issue. But anyways, so one of the ghosts that is said to haunt the Goldfield is Elizabeth. She's the most famous ghost, and she's a pregnant woman who was allegedly murdered by the original owner, George Winfield. The story says that Winfield, who was the father of Elizabeth's child, tied her to the radiator in room 109 and left her to die. Her spirit is said to haunt the room and the hallways, moaning in sorrow. That's pretty sad. The phantom poltergeist. This has been witnessed and has been reported. Witnesses have reported seeing a malevolent, unseen entity throwing objects or trying to push people on the lower floors and in the bar. So I guess there's some children's ghosts here too. The apparitions of 2 children and a man have been seen on the 3rd and 4th floors. So there's other haunted locations in Goldfield as well. The Goldfield High School, the historical Goldfield High School, which closed its doors in 1953, had a troubled past that paranormal investigators have explored. People have reported seeing a male apparition, and the reports describe him as appearing in the buildings and auditoriums. There's also whispers and strange noises that come from the vacant school. Here we go. Another cemetery. So the historic cemetery is the Goldfield Cemetery. The historic cemetery is the final resting place of many Goldfield's earlier inhabitants, which includes miners, outlaws, and prostitutes. There are reports of mysterious voices, and if you stand among the graves, you can hear the voices of the deceased on the desert wind, pleading to not be forgotten, is what it says. There's many of the tombstones tell morbid and cautionary tales of the past, including the story of the paste eater who died after consuming library paste out of hunger. Another grave belongs to J.F. Meager, a grave digger who was killed by a rock during a blast while digging a grave that was subsequently buried in the very plot where he was preparing. That's funny. So he was buried where he was trying to dig up. Oh boy. Talk about karma, right? All right, guys. So that's 5 haunted ghost towns, essentially, that you guys can go check out. I would definitely recommend that you guys go check this out and see for yourself if they're haunted. Again, if you've been there before, comment down below. Let us know. I'd love to hear your stories and go from there. But anyways, with that, I'm going to wrap this up, and we will catch you guys on the next one.